But we begin in the Middle East, where the U.S. and Israel have launched a new wave of attacks on Iran, and Iran has retaliated on several Gulf Arab countries. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Caine, just gave an update on where things stand. This one day after President Trump told reporters in Zhejiang that the war could end, quote, soon. Here's part of what the defense secretary told reporters.
Today will be, yet again, our most intense day of strikes inside Iran. The most fighters, the most bombers, the most strikes. Intelligence more refined and better than ever. As President Trump declared yesterday, we're crushing the enemy in an overwhelming display of technical skill and military force. We will not relent until the enemy is totally and decisively defeated.
All right, let's bring in CBS News senior national security correspondent Charlie D'Agata, who's live in Tel Aviv. Charlie, during the press secretary's, the defense secretary's comments to the press, he said that this was going to be the largest day of strikes, and almost as if on cue, when you and I started speaking during that special report, we heard air raid sirens going off. What else did strike you? What else struck you from what the secretary said today?
Yeah, so Vlad, when Secretary Hegseth said this is going to be the most intense day of bombing, he actually acknowledged the fact that he has said that before, but that doesn't mean it's not true. So there has been, according to the Secretary and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Caine, there has been this upscale of attacks, including 2,000-pound bombs that have been used to attack especially Iran's launchers, because as we've witnessed here and around the Gulf states, America's allies, Iran has continued to at least try, at least attempt to attack here in Israel and further afield. And I'm just looking at 5,000 targets, according to what Defense Secretary Hegseth had to say. 2,000-pound bombs were used in the latest round of strikes. So when he's talking about accelerating this, it still shows that there are targets. But as you said, yes, that wasn't bad theater. It literally happened, 15, 20 seconds before we started talking. You heard them yourself, those air raid sirens. And you might get the impression that that happens all the time. It doesn't. We were up north. It was happening a couple times there. Since we've been here, that was the first time. And you wonder whether it's coordinated to have to do with Secretary's address to the nation. But when that happens, as we saw a couple of days ago, especially because they're dropping some of these scatter bombs or cluster bombs, the Israeli military struggles to defend against all of that. So Iran has been shown to be capable of striking here in Israel and striking Gulf states, U.S. targets and U.S. or at least attempting to target U.S. Installations here, but certainly taking a scattergun approach for U.S. allies in this region, and continues to do so, even though, according to the defense secretary anyway, those launchers are down by 90%.
To that point, Charlie, I mean, he did say that the capabilities have been diminished. We're seeing, as you guys were on the air, that is still happening. What are you hearing about these ramped up attacks and how long that could actually last, given Hegseth's point about it being diminished? Yeah, Kelly, so this is where it gets a little bit difficult, because, of course, a lot of this, and this isn't my analysis, this is quoting the defense secretary and the Joint Chiefs of Staff himself saying, well, we're looking at these launch pads, like where are these missiles and looking at everything at the moment, but these drones are being launched from, because what they want to do, the U.S. military likes to use the term, you don't take out the arrows, you take out the archers. And what they've been doing, especially here in Israel, are taking out the arrows. So they have incoming, and they try to intercept them. Now, Iran and Hezbollah, it's one of the stories we've been covering as well, have been trying to attack Israel to overwhelm defenses here, because they know both Israel and the United States only has a limited supply of air defenses, and most importantly, those interceptors. And I know it has come up before. It's not just the United States fully capable, hopefully, of providing protection for forces in this region, but it's also U.S. allies who may not have the kind of protections to protect against incoming drones and missiles
from Iran, especially Iran, who have a longer reach. So that's where it becomes a little bit more difficult to try to ascertain not only the capacity and stockpiles of Iranian missiles and their drones, which has been very problematic. The United States, the U.S. military has addressed that as well. This is an outside analysis because it sort of floods the field and floods the zone, and it's difficult to get everything all at once. But I can tell you from what we've been seeing, we went up north, there's a lot coming in here, just in Israel itself and also in some of the Gulf Arab states.
All right, Charlie D'Agata reporting from Tel Aviv for us. Charlie, as always, stay safe. We appreciate you.